introduction. I did a little different. I wrote down 5 different scriptures, and then I basically explained how they are to me, like what I'm doing. If that makes sense. Okay. The first one is Philippians 4:13. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. I picked this verse because my whole life I've leaned on myself and tried to go through everything by myself and rely on my own strength, and that has not worked, clearly. So, it has taken me so many years to understand that it is through Christ himself who gives me the strength that I need, that I'm not alone, and that I need to stop acting like I am. Another verse for this is 2 Corinthians 12:10. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities and reproaches and needs and persecutions and distress for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. The second verse I picked is Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer who I live, but Christ who lives in me. In the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I picked this verse because it is no longer Alex. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, my notes are like crazy because I scribbled all around, so I have to figure out what I said. Alex who lives and does life how she wants, but through God who uses my testimony instead of being ashamed and embarrassed, but to glorify God with my testimony of where I was and where God has me now. My third verse I used was Psalms 139:14. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. I've learned the hard way that my identity is not in the men and women in this world, but in God. God made me special and unique in his image. He took his time on me, and God does not and cannot lie or make mistakes. Amen. The fourth one is Ephesians 2:10. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Before in my past, I thought I was just another person taking up air. I was lazy, I quit everything, and I thought I was nothing. This verse means everything to me, because even before I was in my mother's womb, God knew everything, all my gifts, my talents, and that I would use to glorify him one day. It doesn't matter how long it took me to get there and how I finally got it. It matters that I am now. The last one I did was 1 Peter 2:9. I am chosen by him to proclaim the excellence of him who has called me out of the darkness into his marvelous light. God pulled me out of the fog I was in for years, the drug addictions, the abuse, and the anger. I am not who I was. I am free and I am delivered. I am no longer chained. I am not embarrassed or ashamed of the things I have done and gone through, because I am a new creation. I will use my testimony so that God can use me to bring more people into your marvelous light. God handpicked me, and no one could ever convince me otherwise. Amen.